Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jillian McDonald with the Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo. If you would like to ask a question of Mayor Scott or Chief Jody Butz, we ask that you raise your hand and we will call on you. To start today, Mayor Scott will give some opening remarks, followed by Chief Jody Butz, and then we will open for questions. Mayor Scott, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. There are circumstances when acts of defiance and resistance, I believe, are absolutely necessary. When decisions are made by a level of government that put the health of our residents at risk in this region, then that's one of them. We need to resist and defy that decision. And that's exactly what my council did last night. Last night, my council unanimously supported a decision that we would provide notice to Alberta Health Services that our 911 communications center will no longer transfer 911 calls to the AHS Provincial Dispatch Center. This should come as no surprise to AHS. We have been telling them for 7 months that if they went through with the transition that they proposed, that there would be a reduction in service that would put our residents' health at risk. A few weeks ago, that shift occurred. And exactly what we predicted occurred. There was a degradation in service to our residents, which is completely unacceptable. And last night, we made what I consider to be a strong decision, and we stand by it. And people have asked me as a mayor whether I'm concerned that we may be removed as a council, or I may be removed as a mayor. I challenge the provincial government to remove me as a mayor. You know, I believe in this cause enough that I stand by it completely. We've reached the point where we need to stand up for our residents, and that's exactly what my council did. My council is opposed. I refuse to accept the decision of AHS that we've been fighting for 7 months, along with several colleagues in this province. And the right thing to do is for the province to do what they should have done in the first place, and what successive governments have done, which is refuse to make the change that they are imposing. We provided the facts. We repeatedly provided the facts. And when we provided the facts, we were met with tunnel vision that the government simply proceeded. We talked to the Minister of Health. We sent letters to the Premier. We've engaged in every way that we know possible, and we have been met with total resistance. And today we are sending what I believe is a strong message back as a council, and I believe it's completely justified, and I stand by it completely, no matter the political consequences. Thank you very much. There's going to be a brief statement from my colleague, Chief Jody Butz.
Thank you, Mayor Scott. I want to be very clear that this decision didn't happen overnight. We've been, as Mayor Scott has mentioned, we've been advocating against this decision along with our other municipalities in Calgary, Red Deer, and Lethbridge on opposing the consolidation of EMS dispatch. I want to be very clear that this is an operational decision. We've exhausted every avenue in the political arena, and now this is truly about the safety of our residents in our region. We're 3 weeks into a transition that we have a clear understanding of what this system is, of AHS is trying to impose upon us, or has imposed upon us. And I'll say it's broken. I want to be very clear that this decision allows us to take a step backwards and truly do what we've always been doing before. We own the ambulances, we own the infrastructure on the ambulance service, the employees that the ambulance crews, they were RMWB employees. We speak with them every day. This decision by Mayor Scott and the members of our council allows us to take a step back to what we were. And what it means is, from a process, is the 911 caller will be answered by a single dispatcher, who that dispatcher will do the call evaluation, and in an integrated dispatch model in the same room, the dispatch team will be dispatching the resources simultaneously. We will inadvertently decrease the amount of time versus what we've witnessed here in AHS's system, multiple transfers across this province. And I can say with certainty that the span of control by eliminating the dispatch centers of Calgary, Lethbridge, Red Deer, and Fort McMurray come to the sum of around 200,000 EMS calls. This is a positive decision for our operational decision, positive for our region. This will actually decrease the risk for our residents, and our service will improve. Thank you.
Now would be your opportunity to ask questions of Mayor Scott or Chief Jody Butz, so please raise your hand. First, we will go to Taz. Go ahead, Taz.
Hi there, and I'm calling from Global News Lethbridge, and this question is for Jody. During the council meeting, you said that 20% of calls had to have some kind of interference, and your staff have had to intervene. Can you just elaborate a bit and explain how staff have had to intervene?
Yeah, thank you. Very good question. So we, here in the RMWB, we were given a transition date of January 19th. Red Deer and down in your community in Lethbridge, they were given the transition date of January 12th. In the interest of positive, continuing to positive patient outcomes and the safety of our members, we were monitoring the calls as they were occurring. And when we witnessed, or I guess observed, some glaring errors, we were intervening in some of those calls. Now, the number of calls of degradation of service is actually more than that. But the amount of calls that we intervened was 20%. Now, that is far unacceptable for delivering an EMS service.
Thank you, Chief Butz. Next on the line, we have Jamie Malva. Jamie, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, I'm just wondering what this means legally. What could be the legal ramifications of the municipality doing this? And have dispatchers already been instructed to stop transferring those calls?
Yeah, there are times when you need to make a decision notwithstanding the repercussions. And that's exactly what this council did. And I completely believe in it. I have no regrets at all about any repercussions that flow from the decision. If I'm going to stand up for residents, I believe that municipal governments are elected to protect our residents, and protecting their health is one of their key jobs. And if that means defying a decision of the province, then so be it. And that's exactly what we're doing, and that's exactly what we've done. I anticipate the letter is going to go out shortly. I know that we made the decision late last night, and I know that it's in the works. I'm not clear that it's gone out yet, but I anticipate that it will shortly.
If I may, I'd like to add there that I can tell you within the next 24 hours, we will be instructing our staff to stop transferring them EMS calls to AHS.
Thank you so much. Next question comes from Laura Beamish. Laura, please go ahead and make sure you unmute yourself.
Hey there. Jody, we've heard familiar stories about the incidents in Anzac, but I'm wondering if you can speak to more specific events and stories that you've heard of things going wrong.
I can share some of them in general terms, understanding that there's some confidentiality pieces, but I think you raise a good point, and I want to be very clear that AHS, since the transition, has removed their technology from our 911 dispatch center within the first week. And they their system does not allow us to participate in anything like such as a supervised transfer or a co-evaluation. They have said that we've tried to work with them on that, and they've said that no, they don't trust that information from us. What we've witnessed since the transition, and we're 3 weeks into this, is that the most glaring errors out there is the local addressing, and we told them about this, but they failed to listen to it. And I guess the one call that comes to mind was that we had a young caller called 911 for a friend. That young caller was transferred across this province 3 different times. And that young caller had to give their address 6 different times. Now, when you listen, when you listen to that, I can tell you that the AHS system that they've imposed upon us is so far removed from the 911 caller. And if I can pardon the pun, here's a problem, they put a Band-Aid on it, they put a process behind it, they put another Band-Aid, throw some technology at it. But 10 years later, when they started the consolidation piece, we're so far removed from the 911 caller that it gets transferred all over this province. And the decision that Mayor and Council have supported last night, the 911 dispatcher is the same dispatcher that's going to continue with that caller to the call evaluation. And then the team in the same room is going to dispatch those resources simultaneously. We will reduce minutes, not seconds, minutes, by our system that we've been doing since 1979.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Colette. Colette, your line is open. Please make sure you're unmuted.
Hi there. This is also for the chief. I was wondering if you could just speak to what types of delays in terms of timing this is causing. I know you don't want to speak about specific cases, but in terms of calls, what kind of timing delays are we seeing as a result?
Since the transition, we've been watching, categorizing them in 2 areas. One area is errors, and the other one is what are those areas impacting? Your question really speaks to what type of areas are we seeing. So the leading error, the leading cause, or the leading error is the local addressing. Our local dispatchers know every corner of this region, and we leverage that knowledge to get our emergency services personnel to the emergency scene as quickly as we can. Alberta Health Services only has a computer system to meet that. I don't blame the dispatcher in Calgary for not knowing Highway 881 or the Bridge to Nowhere. That's very commonly understood in our region. What was the second part of your question?
Just in terms of timing delays, like what types of, are there calls that are going to the wrong address and then causing 20 minutes delay or something like that? Do you have any kind of examples of what type of delays you're seeing?
Nothing specific here today, but I can assure you that's in that range, 1 in every 4 we've been tracking. And the major cause is the local addressing that they're getting wrong. The other ones is miscommunications. Just imagine there's a telephone tag that happens transferring that call all over the province. The other ones are protocol deviations. That's really concerning. One of our objectives here is the safety of our members. And in this COVID world that we have, the dispatch team provides that frontline screening for our responders that are out there responding to the calls and actually handling our patients. That, as we've witnessed, has been ignored or forgotten about.
And this will be the last call. Does anyone else have any additional questions for Fire Chief Jody Butz or Mayor Dom Scott? Closing remarks for Mayor. Oh, we have one from Laura Beamish. Please go ahead, Laura, and remember to unmute yourself.
Hey, I'm just wondering if there were any other options considered to retaliate against the province with this.
Well, thanks again for that question. When you say options, what I can tell you is that we have spent 7 months of options, and I've been engaged with mayors Veer, Nenshi, and Spearman, who are experiencing the same issue. And just to remind everybody, this is not a new issue. 4 previous times, 4 successive governments have refused to impose this decision. When I was an MLA, my colleague and I, Mike Allen, we fought this decision tooth and nail, and we were able to overturn this decision when we were part of a previous government when I was an MLA. You know, we've tried everything. They have been, what we're experiencing is a determination that is completely unjustified given the health risk to our residents. The financial benefit that I think that is just what they're using to justify this is about $600,000. They have other reasons that I don't believe are correct, and we have countered every reason that they have given us to say that this is a decision that makes sense. It absolutely does not. What the chief can tell you over and over and over again is that we dispatch faster. If you want the best service for your residents, if you're having a heart attack or you are having a stroke, you want your ambulance there as quickly as possible. What we did last night is going to achieve that. What AHS is doing is making it far worse. So we are providing the best service to our residents through this act of defiance. We've exhausted every option, and this is what we are left with. You know, it's unfortunate that it's come to this, but I think municipal governments need to stand up for residents, as I've said before, and that's exactly what we're doing, and it's exactly what we're going to continue to do.
Thanks, Mayor Scott. And if I can add to that, I guess it's important for everyone listening here today to understand that, you know, we thought we were in a partnership with EMS, AHS EMS for the last 10 years. And in the last 7 months, we've been advocating to oppose this consolidated EMS decision. And then in the last 3 weeks, in this transition, we've witnessed what I would describe a broken system. When your question is, have we tried everything or thought of everything? And the answer is yes, absolutely. And I'll bring you back to this was not a decision that we've decided overnight. This was an operational decision. We have grave concern for the system that AHS is imposing on us on the safety of our residents. And I'm not going to speak for the other municipalities, but they have concern as well. We did unfortunately have an incident in Anzac recently that Mayor Scott and Captain Julie Stewart were spoke to. What the most disappointing piece of that was AHS's response to that. They use words as disingenuous, dishonest, and they inadvertently placed that blame on our volunteer department. That's not true. And it's that volunteer department, every one of our RES members will absolutely go to that type of a call every day. AHS is, in that scenario, AHS is hiding behind a software.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Jamie Malva, if your line is open, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Has the municipality discussed doing this change with any of the other mayors affected by centralization? Is it something we can expect to see from some of the other municipalities like Calgary, Lethbridge?
I can say with certainty that they are aware of it, and I understand that there is at least one municipality considering the same action. And I won't disclose which municipality that is. They would want to announce that themselves. But I don't think we're going to be standing alone in taking this action. Calgary's in a different position and may take different actions. And so they are kind of unique in their own situation. Next, I just want to give a few closing remarks. And that is, when governments fail the people of Alberta, when a provincial government fails the people of Alberta, I believe that the people of Alberta and their municipal governments have to stand up and speak at every opportunity. I'm very proud of this council, the one that I lead, for taking this step. And I believe we have taken the right step, notwithstanding the political consequences. We need to stand up for residents. We need to protect their health. This decision will do that, and we need to continue in that approach. So I just want to take one moment and thank all the firefighters and all the paramedics and all our first responders in this region who work so hard for us. We, in turn, as a council, are working hard for you, and I certainly you have my commitment to continue to lead this region in a way that supports you. You have done a lot for this region, and this municipality is going to support you just as we did. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care.
Thank you for joining us today. This video will be available on the RMWB socials within the next hour. Thanks. And if you have any questions, please direct them to our media inbox.